All right, everybody, today we're going to be playing Votes for Women. We're not going to go through the whole game. We're just going to go through a round so you can see what that looks like, or a turn. This is Votes for Women, joined the American women's suffrage movement, 1848 through 1920. Game by Tori Brown and published by Fort Circle Games. We're playing the single mode, or the Applebot version of the game. So we have divided the Applebot cards between early, middle, and late. How do you know? Because it'll say on the card itself, late, for example, and this one says middle, and this one says early. And you're basically going to take 2 of early, 2 middle, and 2 late. You're going to shuffle all the cards, all the stacks individually, and then you're going to put them together to create your Applebot deck. You have your X's, you have the opposition, 2 meeples, you have the dices we're going to be needing, and you have your presents, your cubes, red cubes. Then you're going to have 3 start cards, and they'll tell you when you're going to be playing this. For example, this one says play on turn 3, round 1. Okay. So we're going to set those aside so that we know when to play them. We have taken all the state cards, we shuffle them, took the top 3 cards out of the game, and then we left the rest of them on top there. We're going to be going for those as well. We're going to be using just the suffrages tokens here, buttons, not the opposition buttons. We shuffle the strategy cards, and we got 3 of them down here. We're going to be going for those in the strategy section of the game. There are some of them that tells you to remove them from the game. When you play on the Applebot, it will say it right on the card, so you know what to do. We have our starting card for the suffragist, and we also separated the suffragist cards with early, middle somewhere in there, and late. We shuffled them all together and we created a deck. We have our purple cubes, orange ones, your suffragist. You got different ones. They got the ones like that, and you got the ones with the little flag or whatever. It doesn't matter which one you get, as long as you have 2 yellows and 2 purple. Check marks, green ones, and a bunch of dices here in case we need them for the suffragist side of things. And a turn marker down here, first turn, and we have a whole bunch of 6 of the congressional markers, which we're going to be using down here as we complete that. So that is it. I do have my rule book here on my left. There's a lot of rules to this game, so I tend to leave it open on the side so that we can go through some of the rules as they come up. There is no strategy phase on the first turn. We go straight into, I guess it's the planning phase, where you grab your cards. So I'm going to go ahead and grab 6 of these cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's what I'm going to be using on this turn. That's what I'm going to be playing. My turn would end when I have 1 card available. So I will keep this 1 card, and then I will go into the next phase, so the next turn, grab 6 more cards, because for the most part, I'm always going to have 7 cards with me. So these are going to be the cards I'm going to be using for this turn. And basically that's it. We're ready to play. So let's go ahead and play with my turn. I'm going to play the start card. Seneca Falls Convention. It says to add 1 meeple of each color to the Northeast region. So you have 6 regions. They're all divided by color and number, and that's the Northeast. So I'm going to go ahead and place my 2 meeples there, and it says in the Northeast region, which is that one, receive 2 buttons. I'm going to get the 2 buttons, which are important The buttons do multiple things, but just one of them is you can spin a button to reroll dices, and you can also spin a button on the strategy phase of the game to bet on these strategy cards. For the most part, you either want to win these cards or you want to match the Applebot so that he doesn't take them, because they could be punishing if he takes them, and very beneficial to you if you take them. So I tend to keep those buttons with me, try to get as much as possible. So you get 2 buttons, and it says to add to New York, and you get to pick the colors, and usually you wanna have as much as you can an even color or an even set of colors of squares on the state, because let's say you have a purple and an orange in Georgia, for example. There are some cards in the Applebot that tells you remove all the purple ones from a state, and if you were set up like this, that will mean your whole presence in that state is gone. But if you have if you diversify yourself in the state, then it says remove 2 purple ones, you only losing 2, not the whole thing. So you want to split up your presence as much as you can. So it says 2 in New York. So that's my whole turn. That card goes away. And then we'll go to the start card for the Applebot, which is this one. The Porcharky. The pronunciation of that is going to be brutal. It says play on turn 1, round 1. Add an opposition people to the South region. So we're going to look for the South region. It's just down here. That's our guy. And it says add 1 of this to each state in the Northeast, Atlantic, South region, and Midwest region. So we're going to be needing a lot of these tokens. So add 1. So we're going to go Texas. 1 on each. And then here, basically he's going to take over all this area here. I'll show you what happens in New York in just a second. All right, now we got into New York because I have presence in New York. I don't actually put, because you're not gonna have cubes of different colors in a state. You're either gonna have one color or you're gonna have other surfaces of the opposition taken over. You're not gonna have a mix. So what's gonna happen is instead of putting a red cube there, you don't put a cube there. You just remove one of the other ones from the suffrages of the opposition. So if the opposition was there, you remove 1 cube of the opposition instead of putting one of your suffrages cube. So that's it for the start turn of the Applebot. Next is our turn here to play a card. So we're gonna go to So remember how we were talking about getting those, let's see this one here. Where's that effect? And the 5th amendment. Okay, so we cannot play that. All right. I'm gonna play that one, I think now. It's called National Women's Rights Convention. It says playable if the Civil War is not in effect. Add 1 congressional marker because we want to get there as soon as possible. And 1 in each one of these cubes in 1 state of each region. So the 6 regions, so I like to grab 6 so I can keep track of things. And then we'll start on the left side. So what you want to do is you want to look at the states, what's available here, and you want to look at the cards up there, and you want to go for states that have cards available. So for example, in the West, we have Utah available, so we want to go for that first. Because once you have 4 cubes in a state, you have majority control there, and then you can grab the state card for that region. So in the plains, we have Montana and Kansas. It looks like Montana is just adding 2 of this, and Kansas is adding 6 of the squirtins, the cubes. So I want to go for Kansas, I think. So I'm going to put Kansas there. Next one is 3. It's the South. So in the South, instead of putting a cube on, because they have full control there of the South, I'm going to remove one of the oppositions like I showed you before. And they have Texas and they have Georgia. Georgia's getting 2 tokens and Texas is putting cubes. I'm going to go for that too. So instead of putting one down, I'm going to remove one of mine and then take that red one out. Midwest is the same thing. I do like Ohio, which is draw 2 cards from your draw deck, discard 1 card and play the other card for its event immediately. So I like that a lot. So let's go ahead and grab Ohio. So instead of putting 1 in there for Ohio, we're just going to remove the red from there. Atlantic section, we have Virginia is the only card available, so Virginia is what we're going to go for. Remove that. And then we have the Northeast, and in the Northeast, I see New York card available, so I'm going to add another one to New York. Hopefully I can get that state card quick. And that's my played. Next is the upper bot. 15th device suffrages. Play if the 15th Amendment is in effect. Remove all purple. See, this is what we were talking about. Remove all purple from the 4 states with the most purple. So if you had a lot of purples, that would screw you over big time. So, but the 15th Amendment is not in effect. Play if 15th Amendment is in effect. So we cannot play this card for its effect. So we're going to play it as campaign. That's what it was. We're going to play it as a campaign. I'm going to put the check mark here. So what happens is you're going to grab the 6. Actually, I didn't take that out. You're going to grab this die, 6 face dice, and that's going to tell you where your upper bot guy is going to go. So that's 3, and he's already in 3, so he's going to stay there. And then if there is a state card available in that region, he's going to put guys. Let's see how many we're going to be putting down. So it says here, if there is an available unclaimed state card from that region, the upper bot would add cubicles or cubes to that state. If there are no available state cards from that region, the upper bot will pick up 1 random. So that's when you roll the dice to find out what state you're going to put it on. So we're going to roll this die to determine the number of cubes we're going to be adding. So we're going to be adding 3 to Texas. All right, and that is playing a card for the campaign action and not for this event. So that's the end of that. Back to my turn. You know, I love those tokens or those buttons. So let me get one. We have 2 cards here, basically the same. I like this, but I don't know if I want to play this. It says property rights for women. For the remainder of the turn, roll 6 instead of 4 when taking a campaign action. I'm going to play this. Property rights for women. It says for the remainder of the turn, roll 6 instead of that for the roll 6. Let me show you. So you're going to roll this die instead of this one when taking a campaign action. So, and this is one that's going to happen for the rest of the turn. So we're going to put that in this section here. And that's going to be in effect for the rest of the turn. And that's my turn. So it's the upper bot's turn. It says here, Southern Hospitality. Place one cube, one red cube in each Virginia. I lost that again. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. Where's Tennessee? That is it. That's their action. So it's back to our turn. So I guess we'll play that for the campaign. So we're not going to play for the action. We're going to play for the campaign. And then for the campaign, we're going to be rolling supposedly this die. But because we're not rolling that one, we're rolling this one. Because of that effect, we're going to go ahead and grab 2 of those. I'm going to use this. Hopefully I can get more than one. Let's re-roll this. Oh, that's even worse. Let's spend another one. Come on, this is it, whatever that is. Oh, it's a 6 and a 5. So you're gonna assign 1 to each one. So a 5 for the yellow and a 6 for the purple. So that's going to give us a 6 and a 5. So the 6 is purple and the 5 is yellow. So that's going to give us 6. 1, 2, 3, 6 of purple and 5 of the yellow. That's 4, 5. Okay. Now I could have used a button to move one of the containers out of here. But because I don't have any left, I believe, let me double check that. Yeah, so in the rule book here it says the player must spend a button to move the campaigner to a different region. Okay, so basically we're going to be rolling these 2 dice. We're going to assign 1 of each to each one of the campaigners that we have on that region, and we're going to concentrate on that region only. And that's going to tell us how many cubes we're going to put down in that region. So in this case, we're going to put in 6 purple and 5 yellow. So we're going to go purple there, and then yellow there. And we're going to remove a red one. We're going to remove another red one here. We basically are going to remove as many as we can. So that's going to go away. That's for that. And that's for that. That's how I like to do it, to make sure I keep track of everything. That's for that. And then we got 2 left, so we're going to New Jersey. And it doesn't really matter, so we're going to Virginia. So that's using a card as a campaign action, and that is an event. So that was our turn. Because we have the majority here in New York, we get to grab this New York state card, which allows us, and we can play this whenever we want, allows us to add 6 in the northeast region, no more than 2 per state. So I'm going to keep this here for now because we don't need to use it right away. We can just keep that for now. Okay, and that's the Applebot's turn now. It says, Senator Joseph Brown, play if there is one congressional marker in Congress. Remove from Congress, that sucks, and add 2 to Georgia. 4 in Georgia. Okay, so he's got 4 in Georgia. So he gets the state card. And in the state card on the bottom it says, the Applebot adds 3 red to 2 states, determined at random. So basically what I like to do is that, and so I like to roll dice for it because it says just random. So that's going to tell us the region. So it's region 5. And then this is going to tell us the state, state 1, which is Tennessee. So we're going to be adding 3 in there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's played. Okay, my turn. So I got 3 cards left. I'm gonna go ahead and play that. Susan B. Anthony indicted. Receive a token. We're doing really bad on those buttons, so we want to get. It would be nice if we can get a couple of those, but we'll see. I doubt it. And then it says here, add 1 cube in 1 state of each region. So we're back to this. It's 3 yellow, 3 purple. All right, so we're gonna go to Utah again because we want to take that Utah card. We're gonna go to Kansas. 1, 2. We want to remove Texas. In here we want to do Ohio. There's Ohio. 5 Atlantic. Virginia is our guy. So in here we're going to remove this. And then we have New Jersey. We'll stay in New Jersey there. So that's our turn. Appleblast's turn. New York newspapers. Place 2 red cubes in New York and New Jersey. So that's 2 red cubes in New York. So we're going to take 2 of those out. And then 2 in New Jersey, which is there. So those goes away. So he didn't get more positions, but he kind of screwed us over a little bit on our precision, so we lost a lot there. So back to our turn, and we have 1 more turn, remember, because we keep one of these cards for the next round. All right. What are we going to do? Play if the Civil War is in effect and the 5th Amendment is in effect. So I can't play this card because Reconstruction says you can play it if the Civil War is not in effect, which is not, and if the 15th Amendment is in effect, which is not. So we cannot play this card. But we can actually play this card for campaign action, but don't really need to right now. We have Pioneer Women here. It says roll the 8-sided die and add that number in the plains regions, no more than 1 per state. So I guess we'll do that. We'll do that. 4. Again, we'll grab 4 cubes. Plains. So we're gonna get Kansas, Montana, and Colorado. That sounds about right. That's our turn. And now it's the Applebot's turn. The Civil War. Play if it's round 1, which is not round 1, 2, or 3. So it's none of those rounds. Of the current turn, remove the yada yada yada. So we cannot play it for its effect. We're going to go ahead and play it as a campaign, and basically, like we said before, we're going to roll that die. That's going to tell us where to go. So that's 4. So it's going to the Midwest. And if it's a state available in the Midwest, which it is, Illinois and Ohio, we're going to add a cube, depending on this die, to one of those states. Because we have 2 right now, we're going to roll this. It's 4. So anything 1 and 2 will be Illinois, and then 3 and 4 will be Ohio. So that's 2. So we're going to go with Illinois, and let's find out how many we're going to put down. 2 in Illinois. Where's Illinois? It's Indiana. Yep. All right, that's the Applebot's turn, and that is the end of the first round. Okay. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna do the planning phase. The planning phase is grabbing 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we have 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 cards in our hand. Next thing we're gonna do is a strategy phase, and that is when we're gonna be betting on this. We're gonna commit to one button, and basically you're gonna roll the 4-sided dice for the Applebot. He beat me, he got 4, which is more than 1. So he gets to play this regional focus strategy card. It says add 1 square per state in the region with the most contested states. Add 1 red state in the region with the most contested states. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll the dice on this. Six is that one. So add 1 per state. So 1. There you go. And then he's going to remove that one and remove that one. Okay, that's not too bad. We'll take another one out. Okay, here's an example. That it says there on the bottom with this big star and big letters, do not use versus the Applebot. So we're not going to be using this one. This is the one we're going to be using on the next turn. So that's the strategy section, and now we go back to the operations section. All right, so we're going to do on the next turn, we're going to do 2 rounds, so you can see a little bit more what we do on the operations side of things, and then we'll speed up towards the end game stuff, where we start putting the check marks and the X's in the board game. It's a little different. So my turn. By the way, this goes away because this is a card that's used for just that turn. So that goes away. And is 15th Amendment playable if the Civil War is not in effect. Roll 6. Okay, so this one's actually pretty good. So I'm going to play the 15th Amendment. It says playable if the Civil War is not in effect, which is not. Roll a 6th dice. When I roll a 3 to 6, add 2 to Congress. This is kind of risky without, actually, you know what? I'll take that back. I want to have a button because if for whatever reason I don't get a 3 through 6, then that's a wasted turn. So we don't want to do that. Okay, so this is not bad. A vindication of the rights of women. It says draw 2 cards from your draw deck. Here they are. Discard 1 card and play the other card for its event immediately. And that is what we're going to do. We have 2. Neither one of them with votes or buttons. This one says playable if war in Europe is in effect, so we cannot play that one. So we're stuck with that one. It says roll the A-sided die, add the number of cubes in the Midwest region, no more than 1 per state. Oh, that's amazing. Add the number of cubes in the Midwest region, no more than 1 per state. So that's terrible. That was a terrible turn. So Midwest. And I'm not even gonna, Ohio is available, so we'll put it there. And that, my friends, it is considered a terrible turn. Okay, place 2, New York and Connecticut. In New York, that's 2. So what we're gonna do is remove a yellow. And then we have a red one there. And then Connecticut. So 2 more there. Oh man, we are really struggling here. I'm gonna play that in a second. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Northeast. And this is Atlantic. Maybe we do that one. Francis Harper, roll this die, add that number in the Atlantic region, no more than 1 per state. Please don't make it a 1 again. 4, I'll take that. So that's 4. No more than 1 per state. So we're definitely going to go, this is the Atlantic Asian section. Virginia is available, so we're going to go 1 and 1 in that. And then we're going to remove 2 from here. No more than 1 per state. Oh, no more than 1 per state. That's not going to work. So I guess we'll remove 1 from Kentucky. We'll remove 1 from this section. And then we'll remove 1 from Pennsylvania. Not amazing, but not bad. Screw it, we're gonna play this. At 6. So that's 3 and 3. At 6, in the Northeast region, no more than 2 per state. So in here, we're gonna remove that. In here, we're gonna remove that. And no more than 2, so we're gonna do 2 on that one. And we're gonna go there and there, there and there. Clear that up. Let's do 1 more round. Add 1 in each Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Missouri. Where's Missouri? Missouri. I guess let's do that. It's a 7. That's not too bad. It's 3, and then 3, 7, and that's Northeast region. No more than 1 per state. Let's go with a purple one there. That's going to remove that. That's going to remove that. That's going to remove that. That's removing that. That's going to remove that. And I believe I didn't put 1 in New York, so let's go ahead and put that there. Upper turn. Add 1 to Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. All right, so that's what it looks like. I'm gonna move this thing around a little bit so that I can show you what it looks like further down the game. Okay, so we further down on the game. We've done, let's say, we've done multiple 10s, and this is where we are right now. And all these congressional markers are here. That means this gets sent to Congress. And then at this point, this changes a little bit. You don't actually need those here. You can leave those there, take them out. It's up to you. If they get in the way, just put them aside. But basically, we're going to look at all the states. And any state that has 4 or more cubicles or cubes of a color or of either the suffragists or the opposition means it's been approved or it's been rejected. So for example, in here, okay, it's definitely been approved. It's 4 of this cubes, which is the suffragist. So we get a check mark and it's been approved there. And here, it's been approved as well. And we put another check mark in there. In this state, it hasn't been approved. And here it has been approved because there's 4 cubes. And we're going to do the same thing for all the states. Okay? And we're going to keep going until we get all the states. Texas, approved. Georgia has been rejected, so we put an X. All right, and we're going to keep doing that for the rest of the game So once we go through all of them, this is what it looks like on this particular example. And from here on out for the rest of the game, every time you put cubes in a state that fills up the majority on the state, you're going to put a check mark on it. So for example, let's say if I play a card, right, and then that card allow me to put a fourth cube in there, at that point I would remove all of them and put a check mark on it. And you will continue to do the same thing for the Applebot as well. So let's say an Applebot play a card that allows them to put 2 more cubes in the state of Florida, that will make 4 of them. So then at that point, you will put a rejection there. Once you reach the last turn, game is pretty much over as far as turns and rounds. You're going to be using red dice and a black dice, a 6-sided dice, to dictate if, for example, if it's this last turn of the game and either the strategists have not been able to put all the check marks in, or the opposition, in this case the Applebot, hasn't been able to put all the X's in, you're going to take turns from 1 to 6 as far as the regions, and then 1 through 8 as far as the state, to dictate who's going to take over that specific state so that we can get to the end of the game. So for example, we roll the 2 dices, and that's 6 and 4. So in this case, the opposition will take over that state. All right, state number 2 is already taken, so we go to state 3. And that's 2 and 1. I already got 3 cubes in there, so that means 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. So I'll put the check mark in, and then I take over that state. And we'll continue that way until either the suffragist has won or the opposition has won, and that would dictate the end of the game. And basically that's it. That is how you played Votes for Women. I hope you enjoyed this game. Obviously it was not the full entire gameplay, but I wanted to show you more or less what each one of the sections, as far as the gaming is concerned, works like, how everything works. Obviously, go through the manual. It's got a lot of information in there. I have some issues with the manual where you have to be constantly going back and forth on it. I wish it was structured a little differently, but the game itself is good. It's a great solo game, actually. I actually prefer this game as a solo, playing with the Applebot, than I do playing with other people. So if I was to play this personally, I would recommend playing it as a solo game, playing the Applebot. Again, this is Votes for Women from Fort Circle Games, designed by Tori Brown. That's what the back of the box looks like. Very instructional as far as like informational. Gives you a lot of information on what happened. The cards have a lot of information on them, so I suggest reading them. A lot of historical information, which is nice, really cool. There's a lot of documentation on it as well. If it comes with the box, like documents and stuff like that. Sort of like that. There's a postal telegram. What is this? State of Tennessee, county, paperwork here. All kinds of cool historical information that is worth reading and checking out. But again, that's Votes for Women. They also, you know what I like as well? They also give you extra tokens and stuff like that in case you lose. So for example, I'll show you one example. You're going to be using 6 congressional markers, but you got 2 extra ones just in case, and you do have a turn button token as well, an extra one, in case I guess you lose that one. You have that one. Again, Votes for Women from Fort Circle Games. Pretty fun game, especially as a solo game. Totally recommend it. This has been BlueApe. I will see you guys on the next one. I know that we were scheduled to released this game or this gameplay of the game about a week ago, but unfortunately we recorded the whole thing. No issues with the card. The moment we put the card on the computer, it crashed, so we lost the whole session. So that's why we bring in this today instead of last week. But I hope you enjoyed it. We'll hope to have more videos like this soon for other games. Make sure you follow us on social. I will put the information on the bottom so you can see it. Thanks to Fort Circle Games for providing the game. We were able to unbox it, show you the game setup, and show you what the gameplay looks like. Thanks to them. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, peace, and be good to each other.